Hello. So looks like we got someone here watching. Please reveal yourself. Hello. So looks like we got someone here watching. Please. Hello, everyone. So got a few people here. I'm doing this live stream because I'm not going to be uploading a video today, and someone actually asked me yesterday when my next stream was going to be. So I did say tomorrow night. So sort of doing that for that person, hoping that person is going to be here in the stream. Okay, so I apologise in advance for the dog barking, but those of you who do watch my streams, you'll be very familiar with the situation as of now. Hello, Nicholas. How you doing? Yeah, I'm good, thanks. And you? Hello, Ojib. So got a couple of new viewers here this evening. It's I'm obviously in Britain, and it's 7:15 now in the evening. And yeah, like I was saying, I sporadically do these streams, partly for today because I just haven't been really feeling too good for doing a video. And someone was actually asking me yesterday for when my next live stream was going to be. So I thought I've got not much to do right now, so I thought I'd go live. So, yesterday then, I'd imagine a lot of you seen it. The views are pretty good on it, but I uploaded my childhood C64 games, all ranked. So that's something recent I've done. What I'm going to do for this stream, if anyone's got any questions about setup guides, which I've done in the past, now is your chance. Likelihood is, like I normally get in streams, people will ask me, can you upload this? Can you upload that? Chances are I've already done it. I've done a lot of setup guides and tutorials on my channel. So what normally happens is I'll just literally link you up to things. Do you think Batocera and retrobat will ever remove pre-switch emulators due to Nintendo's ongoing crackdown? I can't really answer that, Ryan. Literally just a minute ago, I was looking through some emulation news on the channel I watch, and there's literally a new Nintendo Switch emulator. As of now, I can't think the name of it, but there are several few of emulators going around. Nintendo Switch isn't something I really cover much. Uh, After all, I'm a retro gaming channel, and what I have done of Switch has pretty much been around retrobat. Uh, Reason being is that I intended to cover every system for the retrobat front end. So yeah, um, I really can't answer that question. Do we have any Amiga fans here by any chance tonight? So I'm looking for Amiga fans. As we know, Amiga is quite likely one of the toughest systems to emulate. I've done many guides on my channel in the past from FSUA to WinUA. I've covered how to set up on various different front ends. And today, I've actually come across something new, which I've not actually done. So if anyone's interested in Amiga, I'll be happy to show you in a minute what it is I found, and a lot of you might be interested. It's very cool. Okie doke. So, got 11 people watching so far. Pretty good. Pretty good. Okay. So yes, Amiga. Um, I'm going to just start this now. I've come across a new system known as Amiga Vision. A little while back, I uploaded a little guide or a little video showcase for Amiga Game Selector. Someone actually commented on it yesterday saying it's a bit old fashioned now, there's something new. So, this is it. This is Amiga Vision, and you can download Amiga Vision. Literally, just type into Google Amiga Vision, and it will take you to the link to download it. So what this is you'll likely download a pack just there, like I've just got. All I'm going to do with this is, let's take a look. I did this earlier on today, and I totally forgot how to do this. Just create a new folder. And what was it? Just drag all those contents into the Amiga folder, and everything's pretty much ready to go for you with this. So, Nicholas, you had the 500 plus, yeah, Commodore's biggest selling Amiga model, the 500, and then obviously my favorite Amiga is the 1200, just by looks of it, and obviously that introduced the AGA chip. But yeah, Amiga wise, I've covered a hell of a lot in the past, including an emulator, which was when you away, it was actually called Denise. Obviously, Denise takes after one of the chips in the Amiga. So, anyways, yeah, I've just extracted all this, and it was in games, and it was in the Amiga folder. Sister One, yes, Wine emulator. So this is it. So open it up by mega ags.fsuae, and this is going terribly wrong for me. Okie dokes. I sure you open this up by going into the right folder, am I? Games, Amiga. You know what? I'm not actually sure what's going on with this. That's really bizarre. Win your way. Yeah, win your way. A lot of people finds it tricky. Anyways, this is Amiga Vision, and I was hoping to get this running. Something's gone wrong here, and I'm not sure what. So, bear with me a sec. Was it in extras? No. So yeah, I was planning on giving you a little showcase of this, but for the life of me, I can't get this running. Normally, you go into the Amiga folder and open up mega ags.fsuae, and it will take you into a little front end. And the good thing with Amiga Vision is that the creators of it insist on pure, legitimate vision, hence why it's called Amiga Vision. So, in other words, they've tailored around 2,000 games to look just how it should have looked back in the day. Totally recommend this one. It's just such a shame that I can demonstrate for you how it looks, but yeah, looks very good. Tell you what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna actually try something else. If I just Google FSUAE, I just download the latest release of FSUAE, download this one, and we'll download this one as well. Okay, just wait for those two to download. And like I said, I've got a plan to try and get Amiga Vision running, so bear with me, people. Downloads, drag launcher and FSUAE out. Okay, like I said, I'm not promising anything, but I am working on this currently to try and show you all how cool this system is. So if I just unpack these, WinRAR, extract here, and I'll do the same with the launcher. I'll delete this one first. Extract here, and delete that one. Okie dokes. Try and put both of those in there. Was that the way I did it? Games, Amiga. No, you know what? If anyone's familiar with the word GIMP, this is what this is being right now to me. It's been an utter GIMP. I can't get it working for the life of me. Oh God. Do I know much about the X Arcade tank stick controller? I'm afraid I don't. I'm actually not familiar with that controller, to be honest with you. Whenever I do my setup guides, it's largely based around my Xbox controller, and that's it really. So I understand there's a lot of different devices out there, light guns, arcade sticks. Um, yeah, so I can't really give you much advice with an X arcade stick, I'm afraid. Okay, so what are we talking about tonight? Normally I do these streams for about an hour, and yeah, like I say, normally I put this as a think tank so people generate some ideas, what content you want from the channel. Uh, your chance to ask me directly if there's anything you might want me to cover. Crazy out in the street tonight. Okay, so what I'm going to do then with that Amiga Vision is actually do a proper setup guide on that. Is a video. Like I said, that's gone horribly wrong tonight, so I'm going to investigate this again and actually get Amiga fans watching this stream up and running with this one. If you want to go for it yourself, then it's over on the Amiga Vision website. You can download it, and this is going to work with a real Amiga, um, different platforms, a good few different platforms. If we go under the documentation, setup for emulators, which I was just about to do. So we need to download, copy Games Amiga, double click, and this is what was going wrong just a minute ago. I was double clicking the Mega AGS file to run setup. You don't need to download FSUA. This download is actually got it with it. Let me give it another go. And here it is, Mega AGS FSUA maybe. No, that isn't going to happen at all, is it? Very, very bizarre stuff. Hey, thanks for the compliment on the retrobat, guys. You know what? I don't really cover retrobat much these days because I've been doing it for the best part of probably getting on a year and a half. Uh, that's not to say I'm not going to cover retrobat again because I do. In fact, I uploaded a couple of guides in the past few weeks. I did Nintendo 3DS and did another system for it. Yes. So yeah, I do retrobat still on and off. Okay. So yeah, there we go. So I'm gonna just say to everyone here, if you want to say thanks for the tutorials I give on my channel, and you want to give something back to what I do, the work I put in, please make the payment, whatever donation to the PayPal address I've just popped into the chat. It would be really helpful if you're planning on donating and it does go to that PayPal address. That's just Jamie's personal PayPal address set up for this channel. So link is there. This will take you straight to PayPal. So yes, other things I'm currently looking into is Like I said, Amiga Vision for Amiga fans. I'm going to be taking a good look at that again. Uh, we are taking a look at launchbox setup in 5 minutes. I'm going to start doing some basic guides within 5 minutes rather than long-ended 30 to an hour long setup guides. I run a vote on my community post the other day asking what people prefer, short or long videos. So yeah, I'm going to do a very short launchbox guide within 10 minutes. And I'm also going to make a little video in telling people the best way to get a hyperspin experience without using hyperspin. So I uploaded a hyperspin video about 7 months ago. I looked into it again the other day, and if anyone else here is actually tried using or setting up hyperspin in 2024, finding files for it is a nightmare. Particular links don't work, and it's just a complete pain in the arse. So, what I'm going to do then is make a video and literally get you running hyperspin pretty much without using hyperspin, if that makes sense. So obviously we got a tracked motor for that and retrofe. I've covered both of these videos in the past, but yeah, I'm generally just gonna put it out there. Get comments all the time saying, have you done hyperspin? It's like, no, I'm done with hyperspin. I'm done with it. Uh, Links are dead everywhere. Like I say, and it's pretty much impossible to do that. So Launchbox, it doesn't actually, Donny. The latest Launchbox, in fact, the last couple stable versions of Launchbox is very simple. Check this out. So I'm a premium user, but what I've done is actually downloaded and installed this already. This has got nothing on it. This is pretty much a blank canvas. I'm going to just give you a demonstration to show you how easy Launchbox is nowadays. So I'm opening up Launchbox for the first time. As we can see, we're on 13.14. Yeah. Now, when you install Launchbox these days, it actually sets up a game directory which should go into your C drive, I believe. Not having much luck tonight. Nothing's going right. So what I can do is right click on the Launchbox shortcut, open file location, and here we go. So in the Launchbox location, when you install Launchbox, you get a games folder. And this is it. It's literally these days just a case of dragging and dropping your games into respective folder just here. And it really is that simple. Now, if I got some games here, I'm going to give you a quick demonstration how easy this is. I don't think I have actually. I delete a lot of my stuff. Okay, so what I'm going to do, give you a quick demonstration. If I go to itch.io, let's just go for C64. Easy enough to find. Top just here, we got one of my previous games, which is Flimsoft, and I'm going to download the game and show you how easy this is. So just download the game, Little Sarah Sister Trilogy, download. Okay, so I got my games just here, and here's .tap, which is the game file, cassette version, obviously. Now, if I drop this game into the Launchbox directory, games folder, listed here will likely be Commodore 64. Here it is. So if I just drag and drop my game in there, and I'm actually going to rename this because in terms of scraping, it's, yeah, very odd. In fact, I think it's already imported it for us. Here it is. So yeah, it really is that simple to do. Now, if you wanted to edit the name of the game for artwork purposes, right click on it, edit metadata. Title, we're going to change this to Little Sarah Sister. Search for media, Little Sarah Sister. That's going to put all the details in here. If we OK, And here we go. We now got more information for the game. Stefano Tognan. And if I were to scrape the artwork for this, media, mm, fresh, bear with me. Let's check up on questions. I get a bit carried away. Okay, so let's actually launch it. So obviously it's gone into launchbox automatically, very easy. Launch with. Now, when you install launchbox these days, it comes with retroarch too. So we don't need to go through the process. Not really, not anymore. Some systems maybe, but if we open this game with Vice 6, okay, very odd. Okay, so what I've done is slightly deleted retroarch when I the other day when I was playing around with this. But anyways, in theory, it's that simple. It's not as complicated as what it once was. Launchbox is come on a long way. Um, open file location emulators. We got RetroArch here. Yeah, and that'll be why because I've deleted RetroArch randomly. So technically, uh, that should have opened just then. But because I've deleted the RetroArch out of the directory, it's not going to. Now let's see if I can reinstall it. Okay. And here we go. If I go into here, as we can see, RetroArch should have been in that emulators folder. So yes, yeah, I'm not getting on too well with this tonight, am I? Anyways, yeah, not much is happening tonight. So I tried Amiga Vision, it failed, and I've just tried Launchbox and it's failed. So my apologies, my apologies. But Launchbox very easy to use. So yeah, Hyperspin Retro by law. Obviously it's all manual work, but if you put enough time into it and enough patience, you can really get the front end system that you really want. Of course, retrobat's good, batocera's good, but is it really what you want? You know, and that's why things like hyperspin, attract modes, retrofe are very good systems. You can literally customize them. So one of the reasons I like Launchbox too, because nowadays you can really customize things in the premium big box version. Totally recommend that. Okay, interesting. Someone has just said to me, "What's the deal with Project Arcade?" Looks a lot like Retrobat. I agree. Uh, I randomly came across it the other day, and being a retro emulation channel, obviously I needed to cover it. I cover everything. I'm always looking out for new stuff. That was one of them. So, as you can see, if you watch the video, you'll literally see it say Batocera as well at some point. I've no idea, no idea what it's all about, but it seems to be very popular and it's brought in a lot of subscribers and people seem to be enjoying Project Arcade. So really, your guess is as good as mine. Right now, Ojib, I've not got any emulators on my computer, not set up. Anyways, what I do on my channel is obviously upload video setup guides for different emulators, and I literally delete everything afterwards. I'm not an emulator user, not really. The only things I do use is GameBase, and that's for Commodore 64. Literally everything else I've just got for setup guides which are coming, that type of thing. So I only wish I did have more time to play games, but I don't. And talking about that, I'm talking nonsense. I've actually spent the last 5 days playing Commodore 64 games from my childhood, flat out about 5 days it took me to do. So that as every game I played as a kid, 91 to 93, someone actually said, you got a good memory. It's like my memory is pristine. Uh, very good. So over 100 games in that video, and it took ages to edit it, to do everything else I did in it, and yeah. Okay, are there themes for a launchbox and project based on a lot of retrobat? Yeah, so you could say the same really for Emulation Station Desktop Edition. The point is, Project Arcade, Retrobat Emulation Station, and several others, including RetroPie actually, are all based on Emulation Station. So you will find themes are very similar. Now, Project Arcade, the weird thing is that the website for it is really polished. But when you actually download it and see what it is, then that's a different thing altogether. Very bizarre front end. If some of you here aren't familiar what we're talking about right now, what I'm going to do is just drop a link in the comments, and you can check out uh, Project Arcade just here. There, so I've just linked you to it. Like I said, presentation wise, it's nice. So some really nice splash videos in Project Arcade and nice presentation. I mean, if we just go to the Project Arcade website, which isn't in my history, let's just type in Project Arcade. Project Arcade on Steam. Let's check this out. Is this top one? You know what? I'm having no luck at all tonight. Things aren't going right. Things are going very wrong, including looking for a website, which seems to have disappeared. So why don't I just go in to my video? And I've linked up the website in the description for this, I believe. More Project Arcade. There we go. So highly polished website, looks really nice. I think it looks really snazzy. Anyways, this is it. And then it's once you're inside Project Arcade, you start seeing odd similarities there with yeah, retrobat. So I say the link is there if you want to check out the Project Arcade video I did, check it out. Some of you will be a little bit intrigued by it, and others will think, yeah, this is clearly a retrobat ripoff. I don't know. Okay, Donny, so themes for Launchbox. There is. Most of your themes are only if you get the premium version of it. Once you pay for the big box, you get a hell lot of themes, a lot of themes inside a big box. A lot of them looking really snazzy. Like I said, I use it myself every now and again, and I highly recommend it. So, themes for a Launchbox, there is a lot. I just type in Launchbox themes, custom themes. So yeah, you can just take a browse through something like this, and you can see here the quality of some of these themes. And I actually did a video on Launchbox a little while back, and it pretty much goes through the entire process. If you're using the free version, or even if you're paying the for the premium big box version of Launchbox, what I'll do is link you in. Bear with me. This is going to be a link then, which I've just posted. This is for Launchbox for beginners, and it will take you through everything, and it will even show you using Big Box. Like I said, highly recommended. Yes, you got to pay, but you get what you pay for in life. So, so yeah, if you've just joined, we're just having a chit chat, really talking about the weird Project Arcade, which some of you who's just joined might or might not have seen. Yo, what's up, T Dog? Yeah, also, if you just joined, I'm just going to make you aware that very likely tomorrow or even tonight, if I'm feeling a little bit more up to it, is for Amiga fans, I'm going to do a setup video, quite a brief one, probably 10 minutes long, for a new emulator system for Amiga, which I've discovered recently. I was going to do it earlier on today, but I've not really been feeling my best today, to be honest. So, um, literally just doing a stream just to tell people I've still got a pulse. You know, I've not gone anywhere. Yes. What else? So lots to do on my list, new videos, that type of thing. We got the Amiga system, which yeah, maybe tonight or tomorrow that's going to be coming. I'm also going to be doing a video for setting up the equivalent of hyperspin, and of course, hyperspin is a little bit like how can I say, a bit like God's gift to front ends, but it's not. It's good, but it's old and finding files for hyperspin is a nightmare. So I've got two alternatives, which I've already covered in the past, but I'm going to just make an awareness video because I'm always getting asked, like, can you do a hyperspin guide? It's like I've done one, but I'm not going to continue it. Part one I've done some time ago, and after investigating it again the other day, I had a headache just looking for files, and it was just a nightmare. So, um, attract mode in retrofe are two front ends that I've already covered. If you want the next best thing to hyperspin, and to be honest, it looks like hyperspin, check these out. What I'm going to do is recommend. Dur, dur, dur. See, like I said, there's two ways to do hyperspin, which looks like hyperspin. We've got retro front end or retro FE, and we've also got attract mode. Now, I've got a whole playlist on attract mode. I'm actually gonna link you for those people interested to the attract mode. Bear with me. See, like I said, there's two ways to do hyperspin, which looks like hyperspin. What retro front end or retro FE? So the link I just posted, literally, that's going to take you to setting up attract mode in using a retroarch. Okay, what's the easiest thing to set up that you teach? T Dog is retrobat without a doubt. Yeah, retrobat, seriously easy. In fact, it's a little bit too easy if you know what I mean. um, yeah, retrobat, and yeah, definitely, I'd say retrobat, and I'd likely say that's why retrobat is so highly viewed on my channel because what there is a retrobat on YouTube, there isn't a great deal, and what there is isn't in English, or when I started doing it around a year and a half back, there was not much on there, especially English. Of course, it's got a fan base, like it still does, but obviously, not everyone wants to read subtitles. And yeah, next to that, I'd probably say Emulation Station Desktop Edition, and just for just to say, I think likely the hardest, most complex that I've done is, believe it or not, GameX was a little bit of a nightmare for me to read through and find out how to get that one working. That was yeah, a bit strange. So yeah, GameX definitely. That's one of the hardest I've done. Hello, Wolfman. How you doing? What else have I done? I mean, you know, for those of you who's watched me for a little while, get notifications. I've done countless front end emulator setups. I mean, countless. BizHawk, Recall Box, Tract Mode, obviously, Scum VM, Mednafen, Multi Emulator, several main guides, including QMC2, Project Arcade, Launchbox, Batocera, plenty of Commodore stuff, of course. I'm doing okay, Wolfman. Like I was just saying, didn't really feel up to doing a video today, so I thought I'd just do a stream because it's a nice day, so why not? So, yeah, doing good, thanks. I was just saying, a couple of videos I got coming up is an Amiga video, either tomorrow or tonight if I'm feeling up to it. Just feel a little bit groggy today. And yeah, of course, once I start feeling better, that's the seagulls from the seaside, if you can hear that. So, so yeah, plenty of. Have you seen Play Night? I've covered Play Night several times. Bear with me. I've got a whole playlist for Play Night, and yeah, I recommend Play Night. It's good, and it's not really talked about much. But yeah, Play Night. It's pretty much a free launch box. A little bit peculiar to set up, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty good. Bear with me, bear with me. Play Night front end. Yeah, I'm gonna just put a link to the front end playlist I created. It's got about 7 videos in there, I think. So pretty much a free launch. Bear with me. There you go. What is your favorite front end that you use every day? I really like Play Night. I got after watching your tutorial on the emulator. I always say this, Donovan. In fact, I was just saying it a minute ago. Launchbox is my preferred, and I was also saying I wish I did have more time to play games, but really in my free time, I'd rather do what I've done a bit of today. Is just painting some miniatures. So yeah, that's it. And obviously in the background, I'm editing stuff. The Commodore 64 video I did yesterday took a good 5 days. So very busy. And yeah, I've got other things to do. So it doesn't, Donny. And you know what? That was one of the reasons I did retrobat in the early days of my channel was that retrobat is a good quality front end system, and of course it's free, but there wasn't much support at the time when I started doing it on my channel. Only really it was in French, and of course not everyone wants to be reading subtitles. And I know that when I was working in Blockbuster years ago, people would get a little bit annoyed if they rented a video and they had to read it. They used to bring the films back and say, I want to watch a bloody film. I don't want to read a book. Yeah, Steam GOG and Epic. Yeah, I've looked at those, and I don't think it's going to be something I'm going to cover anytime soon. I've got too much to do on the channel. Maybe in a few years' time when I run out of ideas, but yeah, I'm not going to be looking at Epic or anything like that. But of course, with Play Night, you can actually import PC games, so you can pretty much import your Steam library, GOG library, Epic library, pretty much everything. So Play Night, totally recommend it. And I do forget about that one, but yeah, it's good. And it's fairly well updated too. Donny, don't even mention Pegasus Launcher. It's an abomination. So this one Pegasus front end launcher or Pegasus launcher. It's been on my to do list for a long time, and every now and again I'll take a look at it. And I wouldn't say I was utterly confused. I'm pretty much there with it. It's just literally a case of getting a video done about it, just going back to it. But if you want an easy system, all I can say is don't look at Pegasus launcher because it will literally give you a headache, quite literally. So in other words, yeah, avoid Pegasus launcher. Just stick with what you're familiar with. Now, I'm going to apologize again, but you can likely hear a dog barking. The dog is a pain in the ass. The dog is neglected very badly, and everyone's had enough of it. But we put up with this all day long, all through the night, and we are sick of it. Yeah. So I was saying to fiance a little while ago yesterday, actually, if you think of Nelson Muntz from The Simpsons when he does that irritating, sounds like this damn dog, but it's like in a dog form, so sounds very familiar, very, very similar. I'd like it if there was a Just Jamie clone who ran Android emulator tutorials. But why, T-Dog? I've done them. Yeah, you know what, Retro Marine? Every time you're in my streams, I'm talking about the dog. It's not always like this, I don't think, but it's just very, very annoying. Now, it's a fairly warm day today up north, and I've got the door open. I just like to have the door open, just let some fresh air in. The dog is inside, and every bastard around can hear the thing go on. And yeah, oh. So yeah, Android emulator tutorials, T Dog. I have done them. Like I've literally done a few in the past, but they're not overly popular. So I do tend to keep away. Although saying that, it's something that I should look into doing again. But what I'm going to do is do what I do best on my streams and link you all up with videos I've done. Oh, that's cool. Certainly bothers me, Retro Marine. I'm going to do. Okay. Here you go. For those of you interested in Android emulators setups, I've just posted a link there to my playlist, and I've done a several in there. So yeah, I have done them. Like I said, they're not overly popular, and obviously, as a YouTuber, you want stuff to be viewed, you know. And let's just say, I want to be a celebrity. I want to be a billionaire. You know, that type of thing. We're not going to get it doing some particular videos. So Donovan, no, I haven't actually. I knew there was a Nintendo Direct. I've not actually seen it, but I knew about it. Uh, yeah. So actually, no, I didn't know about a new Mario Luigi Brothership game. Um, I don't actually buy Switch games. My partner, she's got the Switch, and I do play them from time to time. Yeah, Switch has got some great games on it, and I'm pretty sure I read the other day. Obviously, a lot of Switch games, well, several of the Wii U games got ported to the Switch, and there was some which wasn't. And I read the other day that the Kirby's game, the Magic Paintbrush, whatever it's called, great game, really good game. It's actually being finally ported to Switch. So yeah. See, I never liked Kirby back in the day, but after the Wii era, I just thought Kirby got a little bit better. Like just they were a little bit dull back in the day, like on the NES and the original Game Boy. But yeah, nowadays I think Kirby is very good. And obviously, one of the titles on the Wii U, which was highly slagged off, criticised in its day, and personally one of my favourite Wii U games was The Devil's Third or Devil's Third. It was a very unusual Nintendo game, and it was likely the first Nintendo game to feature extreme violence, blood, gore, and swearing. It would be nice if the Switch got a port of that, but because it was so badly received on the Wii U, I don't think it's going to happen. But really cool game. Yeah, very cool game about a drummer covered in tattoos, and he's locked up in some mental prison facility somewhere. Yeah, it's very un-Nintendo, and that was the issue. I think when it released back in the day, it was probably more. On the lines of violence you'll see in something like Grand Theft Auto, it's very untypical Nintendo. But going back, yeah, I was always a Nintendo fanboy, really. Obviously, back then it was Sega or Nintendo. Well, I was Nintendo, pretty much. Although I had my fair share of Sega systems over the years, Nintendo was always my preference, really. And then Sony PlayStation came along, and I wouldn't say I forgot about Nintendo stuff, but yeah, and very unconventional opinion, but I didn't like PlayStation 2. I like PlayStation 1, that was a phenomenal system. PlayStation 2, I know it's a best selling console to date, by far. Like, that's a fact, but I never got into it. Yeah, I remember House of the Dead Overkill. That one came out whilst I was working at Blockbuster. I remember that one coming in. I played it. I wasn't too keen on it. Personally, my favorite House of the Dead was House of the Dead 2 on Dreamcast. And yeah, what a great game. You know what? I'm going to go outside and have a cigarette. So who's going to join me? Oh, yeah, House of the Dead. Absolutely superb games. Like, really good. And dare I say it, but I never actually played House of the Dead in the arcade. I mean, by that point, when that got ported to the Dreamcast, to me, the arcade was dying. That was one of the good things about the Dreamcast in its day is that the games, the quality of the games, were literally pretty much direct from the arcades. They look no different. Okay, Donovan, I'll have a ciggy with you. I'll be there in spirit. Retro Marine, aren't you? I'm sure I ask you this every time you're on stream with me. You're in America, aren't you? I know I've got some American people here now. I just can't think who was. So, anyways, like I always say, if anyone wants to donate to the channel and support what I do, encourage me. My PayPal is just here, and I deserve it. I put a lot of hours into my channel in helping people out, so PayPal is preferred. And obviously, that's not be too presuming, but PayPal is a lot easier rather than using Supers or whatever. So, anyways, if you just joined the stream, I was talking earlier in this video, Virginia, that's the one, yeah. I was just talking earlier in this stream, if you just joined it, we're doing an Amiga Vision video soon. So if you're an Amiga fan, you'll like this video. Virginia, yeah, and we got South Africa. What, sig on, Jamie? Hell yeah. So very unprofessional of me, but I'm not professional. So I'm just a YouTuber, so it doesn't matter. It's not relevant. Because you honestly see me working in the office right now, in a call center or something like that. Just going out for Siggy. I was gonna call it something else then, but I thought no, no. Day and age we're in. Metal Slug Attack Reloaded. Uh, I'm not familiar with Metal Slug Reloaded. Uh, Metal Slug Attack Reloaded. I don't know. I'd say possibly that's a fan made game, but Reloaded normally says, "Hello back to New York. How you doing?" You know, New York. I've been taking an interest in Cyndi Lauper interviews at the moment. Obviously, Cyndi Lauper was from New York, proper New Yorker, and yeah, and it's just a pity that Cyndi Lauper's got so old, but you can't stay young forever. So anyway, Metal Slug Attack Reloaded. Let me just check that. I'm curious of that myself now. But yeah, by the seams of it, whenever it says Reloaded, it normally a fan made game or something. Reloaded. Oh no, looks like an official. Yeah, so it's Metal Slug Attack Reloaded. Yeah, it looks to me like it's a legit game, not a demake or anything like that. Oh, I don't know. I'll investigate it later on. Yeah, I always think of the Goonies as well with Cyndi Lauper. It took me years, it did, to actually discover the Goonies are good enough from the Goonies film. Later on in life, when YouTube came along, I thought, who is this song by? And I realised it was Cyndi Lauper. What a great song, what a great video. How much fun was the 80s? And then you get today, such a serious world, full of dictators threatening the West and so on, and grim high streets in the UK and our seasides are going downhill. Oh, that's okay, Donovan. You know, even music is pants today, like proper pants. And films, I'll probably say this for everyone here, but films are just diabolical today, just absolutely outrageously bad. And that's the great thing about the 80s. The 80s were great, and it's a shame I was born in 1983. I just remember the early 90s, really, probably late 80s, at which point music was becoming dancey, more dancey with that typical 90s cymbal, crash cymbal type going on. You know, Donovan, one of the best, I think, sort of underrated horror films from the 80s is Reanimator. It's not really talked about too much, and it's got a great character. It's always like I suppose at the time of filming it, it was a bit like a Frankenstein revamp, I suppose. Really good set of characters in it, pretty grim in places. So, yeah, going back to South Africa, I'm pretty sure I was talking to a South African on there the other night. Might have been you actually talking to you about biltong and stuff. Yeah, 70s. You know what? 70s music, it wasn't bad. I was brought up with the 60s. My dad still lives in the 60s somewhere, a bit like I still live in the 80s somewhere. And to me, the 60s, apart from the Beatles, and be honest with myself, I only like the Beatles because I was brought up with it. To me, the 60s music was just ugh. 70s was a bit better. The music production started sounding better. Obviously, studios were recording was more advanced by that point. Most things in the 60s was recorded through mono, and yeah, 70s just seems a bit more lively. Obviously, you had glam rock, that type of music at the time, and it just seemed a bit more lively. So yeah, and I think yeah, obviously to me, 80s definitely all the way, and then next to that, likely 70s. I was never overly keen on the music in the 90s, although the 90s did have a hell of a lot of good films. Yeah, Biltong. Right. So if no one's aware what Biltong is, it's a bit like what's it called? The America's got its own version of it. They call it no, I can't think. Jerky, beef jerky, I think is the equivalent, or I could be wrong. But you know what? I haven't had biltong in a long time, so pretty much dried beef, that type of thing, with a bit of moisture to it, and you just nibble on it. Very chewy stuff. Oh, that doggy. Yeah, but obviously the only song I know of by Vanilla Ice is Ice Ice Baby. And it turns out Mr. Ice got into a lot of trouble at the time because he was obviously ripping off um, Under Pressure by Queen and David Bowie. So I think there was a little bit controversy at the time. And I think Mr. Ice actually went to court at the time for blatantly ripping off the bass line. But nevertheless, great song. They were everything about the 80s. What a phenomenal era that was. Just absolutely superb. So if I had a year in the 80s I could personally go back to, it would be likely around 86, 87. Because I think that was, in terms of games, I think by the time 86, 87 came along, things have become a little bit more perfected. So games were sort of beginning to look nicer. Arcade games were looking nicer. Um, Music as well was synth pop, electro music. No, I'm not gonna actually go through what I'm saying. I suppose electro pop was sounding good in the early 80s. Probably a lot. Yeah, I watched something on Vanilla Ice a little while back, and what he's actually doing today. It's quite interesting how much that bloke has got into trouble with the law in the past. He's been a bit of a bad boy, and it's a shame because obviously Vanilla Ice was around before Eminem made it big. Um, but obviously Eminem is still around today, where Vanilla Ice, most kids today wouldn't even know who that was. I don't think. But you know what? I say fair play to Eminem. I bought Marshall Mathers LP. Was it LP? No, Real Slim Shady single when it came out on cassette in a shop which is no longer, which was called Our Price. And yeah, it was good. That was around the year '99, I think that one came out. And to know he's still going around and appealing to teenagers today is pretty impressive. Sorry to hear that, Retro Marine. So, yeah. So, anyways, Metal Slug Reloaded. Yeah, this page is now loaded. What is this? Oh, it's actually a tower defense game now. Looks pretty fun. £8.50 on Steam. Yeah, quite like. Look at that. What sort of reviews is it had? Recommended, recommended, not recommended. So, if you've just joined and you're wondering what I'm talking about, someone told me just a minute ago there's a new Metal Slug game out, and it turns out it's a new version or a tower defense Metal Slug game. Mind your language, it sounds familiar. Mind your language. Um, as far back as I can remember, say the early 90s, programs I used to watch at the time was Men Behaving Badly, which I watched recently. It just don't seem that funny anymore. It had Martin Clunes in it and Neil Morrissey. One Foot in the Grave was one of my personal favourites. Obviously, you had Only Fools and Horses, and Only Fools and Horses actually recently got an American reboot within the last 10 years, I'd say, and it went down very badly, so they didn't continue with that. Comedy wise, I like a lot of 80s stuff, so like really bizarre stuff. The comic strip BBC Two had, where the young ones, Adrian Edmondson and Rick Mel, pretty much came from. Best Specky emulator, Mark. I actually uploaded one the other day, and the emulator was called Specky. And Specky wasn't a bad emulator. In the past, I've done On the Buses, man, classic. Oh, Butler, I ain't you, Butler. Yeah, very cool stuff. Now, Mark, talking about On the Buses, I actually found out a few years ago there's actually a spin off with Blakey. Blakey went abroad, and I can't remember what it was called. I think it came out in the early 80s. But yeah, On the Buses, all films are great. My personal favourite On the Buses film, that was a Holiday on the Buses, which was actually filmed in Pontins in Wales, I believe. The same area, obviously, American Werewolf in London as well, funny enough, that was actually filmed in Wales, whereas American Werewolf in London, it was supposed to be in Yorkshire, but yeah, actually, it was done in Wales. Absolute classic. Don't drink the water. Yeah. You know what? On the buses, it must have been massive in its day. I think there was some like 7 or 8 series of it. And there's also 3 films. Another one of my favourites is Steptoe and Son. I've been watching that since I was little. And yeah, probably half of them were black and white. but I can get past that because I love the characters, Albert and Harold. And again, Steptoe and Son, what's that? Two films, both really good films. So yeah, in terms of modern day TV and film, I'm done with all that. Nah. Oh yeah, going back to the early 90s, you also had Bottom as well with Adrian Edmondson and Rick Mel. I used to watch that a lot. That's what the Blakey. Don't drink the water. Oh, sorry, I thought you was referring to something else. Don't drink the water. Is that what it's called? Yeah, I was watching it randomly a few years back, and don't know how I came across it, but oh yeah, this is on the buses spin-off. Porridge. Yeah. Don't. The only thing with Porridge I really liked was the film, which is very good. And obviously, the film opens up with "Hit Me with Your Ribbon Stick," which is played on the prison radio. Uh, yeah, my dad is a big Porridge fan and actually made a comeback a little while back, and that was a flop, a massive flop. Talking about Porridge, there's also Open All Hours, which I really like watching as well. And again, that made a comeback with David Jason. And surprisingly, still Open Hours was actually a very good show. Mrs. Brown's Boys, I think my dad's liked Mrs. Brown Boys. Rain Man, Rain Man. Wasn't that a film about an autistic bloke? Can't think who was in it. Going Straight. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, my dad always said Going Straight, the spin-off of Porridge, wasn't as good, but I've got memories of my dad's watching that back in the day. But yeah, Porridge, for some reason, I just couldn't get into. What was it? Was it Ronnie Barker? And yeah, I think David Jason as well was in Porridge, had little cameos in it. Obviously, that was before he made it big with Force and Horses. So yeah, as normal, a typical stream. We're not talking about retro gaming, but I think that's what makes these streams fun. Anything's possible. Dustin Dustin Hoffman. He's really old nowadays. I think it was Dustin Hoffman who was in a Clint Eastwood film I liked, and what was that called? Absolute Power. And I think Dustin Hoffman played the president in it. Was it Dustin Hoffman? I'm thinking of someone else. Yeah, Dustin Hoffman. He's the bloke from Meet the Fockers who was also in Tootsie in the 70s. Yeah, Rick Mel in American Werewolf in London. That's an interesting one. Yeah, obviously he was in the Slaughtered Lamb pub near the beginning. Um, I don't know. No idea. Yeah, legend has it Rick Mel and Adrian Edmondson met on the bus on the way to university, which I think they were in Manchester University, somewhere around that area, I think. And at the time, Rick Mel was trying to make himself look cool and stuff to impress people by smoking and stuff. So what you see with Bottom, his character, is a little bit like what he was like in real life, possibly. I don't know. So yes, yeah, really cool. Let's see, did Rick Mel even have a script in American Werewolf? I don't think he did. He was literally looking shocked as the two Americans came into that little pub. Crazy. Brian Glover was in American Werewolf. Brian Glover, who's this? Name doesn't sound familiar. Yes, Brian Glover, he was actually in Bottom as well. If you remember the Bottom episodes, um, that same bloke, the episode was called Gas. And Brian Glover, he played the neighbour at the time where Rick met when Adrian Remsen, they broke into his house. Not sure if Brian Glover is a Yorkshireman in real life, but in that episode of Bottom, yeah, And I didn't realise until just then, but the same bloke then, he was actually a wrestler. So, yeah, a bit before my time. Brian Glover is also in Alien 3 as well. He had a bit of a role in that film. Mr. Bean, yeah, I was a big fan of that back in the day. Do you remember Mr. Bean's Diary? You had two versions of it. You had a tiny little miniature version, which I had, and you had quite a big one. Yeah. So yeah, that's actually a really funny episode of Bottom that one. Yeah, it's literally called Gas, I think. In what was it? The gas inspect. Was it that episode? I think the gas inspector comes in, electric gas, gas man. That's it. And would you like some tea? You must drink our tea. Brilliant. Yeah, Rowan Atkinson. He was he had quite a big role in Blackadder. Again, Blackadder. It wasn't. It's never appealed to me. But from what I gather of Blackadder, each series was based around like a different historical period. And I think the last series of Blackadder, I think it was based around World War I, possibly. But yeah, I've never really bothered with it. But you had a lot of people in there which are still on TBC. I think Ben Elton was in Blackadder. Even Rick Mell and Adrian Empson had little roles in it, I think. And you know what? We're talking about classic British comedies. No one's mentioned Forty Towers yet, or Frankie Howard, or Freddie Starr. World War I, yeah, I thought it was. So I'm not sure if Blackadder was a part of the BBC's comedy sketch thing, but very bizarre stuff on there. Very experimental stuff. Comic strip, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I went up to see my mum and dad about 5 years ago, and my dad bought this comic strip DVD. He goes, "This is what we was watching back in the day," and there's some of the stuff on there, man, just really bizarre. Kenny Hendrick? No, what's his name? Kenny, another comedian. He's dead now. Kenny Everett. That's the one. Really bizarre stuff. Little Britain was awesome, and it shouldn't have been banned. Full stop. Now, if Little Britain offended anyone here, raise your hand. I think it was hilarious, and actually back then, David Walliams was actually funny, like properly funny, absolutely superb. Monte Cristo, oh Monty Python, Holy Grail. Which one was it I liked? Life of Brian. That was my favourite Monty Python film. There's a part in Life of Brian. I'll never forget it. Jesus or Brian is running away from the Romans, and he jumps off of this structure, and all of a sudden, this spaceship comes along, and it's like, where did this just come from? And then when he goes into space and stuff, it's like, we're talking biblical times just here. This is bizarre. All right. Yeah, Little Britain was very good. And I think Little Britain was uh, probably the last best British comedy with some substance. It actually lasted a good few series. The two Ronnies, yeah, my dad's like them. Yeah. What's my favourite from Little Britain? I always think of the sketch in Little Britain, David Walliams, when he's going to see an old woman. And he's there trying to get all sexual with this like 89-year-old woman, like sucking her toes. It's just awful, but it's just so funny. Never one of my favourite Little Britons was Fat Fighters. What an awesome sketch. Good evening, fatties. Yeah. Obviously you got the what's his name? David? The only gay in the village, absolutely superb. Yeah, without a doubt, I think that's probably the best funny British comedy we had, and that was years ago. But of course, we're not allowed to be funny anymore. We're not allowed to have a sense of humour. So, They shall count to three. Oh no. Oh. So let's go back to a bit of retro gaming. What is it people want? So we all happy here having a chit chat about old times and how funny things used to be before we were told not to be funny anymore. A voice impersonator. I'm no good at it. No good at voice impersonations. You know what? I live in Yorkshire now. I'm a Bristol boy, really. If I was good at it, I could actually sound like a northerner, like someone from Yorkshire. But I'm not going to, because if I want to sound like someone from Yorkshire, I'd probably end up sounding like a Welshman. So it's not going to happen. My impersonations is terrible. Uh, so, anyways, if you're new to the channel and you're on this stream, everyone check out yesterday's Commodore 64 video I did. It could have fooled me. Is that with the old Farmer Joel's accent I got? Oh, going back to D-Dog, Vicar and Dibley, yeah, that was that Jennifer Saunders? I do remember it. Uh, the woman in it, pretty sure she's married to Lenny Henry, and I can't think of her name. Oblivion, yes, I'm a big Commodore fan, and I've done loads of Amiga stuff. So, I've got WinUA setup guides, I've got FSUA setup guides, even an emulator called Denise, which is obviously one of the chips from the real Amiga. Anyways, I've done an emulator for that, Amiga Game Selector, and I was actually talking about Amiga Vision earlier on. I actually done well, tend to do a demonstration, but I couldn't get it working. But Amiga Vision, I'm planning on doing that tomorrow or tonight. So yeah, plenty of Amiga stuff. And if you're an Amiga fan or a C64 fan or a Commodore fan in general, you're definitely in good hands on my channel here. Definitely. Uh, so yeah, we got AGS launcher just here, which I don't use. I'm not even sure why it's on there to be honest. But I love Amiga. I've got the Amiga Mini. I've got a C64 Maxi. And of course, Retro Games Limited, they're actually producing the Amiga Maxi or the A500 or the 500 Maxi at some point. They've just released the Atari Mini, which was the Atari 800, which I'll be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of Atari, but I appreciate it because it's old and I like old stuff. I'm also really interested in new games for Amiga. Of course, the C64's got plenty of new games coming out, loads. The Amiga, it seems to be getting a stronger community these days. Remember Slingers Day? I don't remember that, Mark. I remember Bruce, and yeah, I've watched Bruce Forsyth. He was in a lot of shows back in the 90s. But the one you just mentioned, Slingers Day, I don't actually remember that one. Yeah, C64 and Amiga all day long. Absolutely superb stuff. Was on Thames TV. Yeah, I don't recall that one. Maybe that's just a bit before my time. I think Bruce Forsyth, he was one of those people you never expected die. A little bit like Lemmy Kilmister from Motorhead. One of those people, they seem a bit indestructible. Bit like Bruce Forsyth, he was around since what, the 50s and 60s? So, anyways, I'm gonna pack up now. I got a few things to do, but like I said, for Amiga fans, I do have a new Amiga video on the way, so check that out. And still, if you didn't watch yesterday's all my childhood C64 games ranked, watch the video. It's the latest video I've done from yesterday. It's 55 minutes long. There's a lot on there. So if you're new to Commodore 64, it's worth watching. If you're a veteran like myself, it's worth watching. It's a good video, and I put a lot of hours into making that one. So yeah, thanks for everyone joining the stream, and stay retro.